आरबीआई मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी FY 2025-26 की 3 दिवसीय बैठक के नतीजे सामने आ चुके हैं। आरबीआई के गवर्नर संजय मल्होत्रा ने एक बार फिर से ब्याज दरों में कटौती का फैसला सुनाया है और रेपो रेट में 0.50% की कटौती की घोषणा की है। इसी के साथ अब रेपो रेट 6% से घटकर 5.50% हो गया है। इसमें लोन लेने वालों को बड़ी खुशखबरी मिली है क्योंकि इससे उनके लोन भी सस्ते होंगे। अपनी स्पीच में गवर्नर ने रेपो रेट के अलावा और भी तमाम बड़ी बातें कही। यहाँ एक नजर डालते हैं बैठक की बड़ी बातों पर।
भारतीय रिजर्व बैंक ने लगातार तीसरी बार ब्याज दरों में कटौती का ऐलान किया। 3 दिन की एमपीसी बैठक के बाद आरबीआई गवर्नर संजय मल्होत्रा ने ब्याज दरों में 50 बेसिस पॉइंट्स की कटौती का ऐलान किया। इसके बाद रेपो रेट घटकर 5.5% पर आ गई है। इसके साथ ही आरबीआई ने कहा कि महंगाई के निचले स्तर पर रहने का अनुमान है। आरबीआई गवर्नर ने बताया कि ग्लोबल अनिश्चितताओं के बीच भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था मजबूत है और निवेशकों के लिए भारतीय बाजार में काफी संभावना है। आरबीआई गवर्नर ने कहा है कि भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था तेजी से बढ़ने के लिए तैयार है। एमपीसी बैठक के बाद आरबीआई गवर्नर ने कहा कि ग्लोबल मार्केट में अनिश्चितताएं बरकरार है। इसे देखते हुए दुनिया भर की एजेंसियों ने ग्लोबल ग्रोथ में कटौती किया है। हालांकि ग्लोबल अनिश्चितताओं के बीच भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था मजबूत है। उन्होंने कहा कि निवेशकों के लिए भारतीय बाजार में काफी संभावना है। आरबीआई गवर्नर ने कहा कि देशी विदेशी निवेशकों के लिए भारतीय बाजार में काफी मौके हैं। भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था तेजी से बढ़ने के लिए तैयार है।
Thus, the MPC felt that it is imperative to continue to stimulate domestic private consumption and investment through the policy levers to step up the growth momentum. This changed growth inflation dynamics calls for not only continuing with the policy easing, but also the MPC felt front-loading the rate cuts to support growth. Accordingly, the MPC voted to reduce the repo rate by 50 basis points to 5.5%, as already mentioned. After having reduced the policy repo rate by 100 basis points in quick succession since February 2025, the Monetary Policy Committee also felt that under the present circumstances, monetary policy is now left with very limited space to support growth. Hence, the MPC also decided to change the stance from accommodative to neutral. From here onwards, the MPC will be carefully assessing the incoming data and the evolving outlook to chart out the future course of monetary policy in order to strike the right growth-inflation balance. The fast-changing global economic situation too necessitates continuous monitoring and assessment of the evolving macroeconomic outlook. I will now come to the assessment of growth and inflation. First, growth. The provisional estimates released by the National Statistical Office placed India's real growth in 24-25 last year at 6.5%. During 25-26 so far, domestic economic activity has exhibited resilience. Agriculture sector remains strong with a very good harvest in both the Kharif as well as Rabi cropping seasons. The supply of major food crops is comfortable. The reservoir levels remain healthy. The highest procurement of wheat in the last 4 years provides a comforting stock position. Industrial activity is gaining gradually, even though the pace of recovery is a little uneven. Services sector is expected to maintain momentum. PMI services stood strong, as you are aware, at 58.8 in May 2025, indicating a very robust expansion in activity. On the demand side, private consumption, which is the mainstay of aggregate demand, about 56% of the total GDP, remains healthy with a gradual rise in discretionary spending. Consideration, real GDP growth rate for this year 25-26 is projected at 6.5%. We continue with our earlier forecast with Q1 at 6.5, Q2 at 6.7, Q3 at 6.6, and Q4 at 6.3%. The risks are evenly balanced. I will now move to inflation. CPI headline inflation continued its declining trajectory in both March and April. The headline inflation moderated to a nearly 6-year low, in fact 69 months to be precise, to 3.2% in April 2025. This was led mainly by food inflation, which recorded the 6th consecutive monthly decline. Fuel group, which had been earlier witnessing deflationary conditions, there was a reversal of the deflationary conditions, and it has recorded positive inflation prints in the last 2 months of March and April. This is partly because of the hike in LPG prices. Core inflation remained largely steady and contained during March and April, and this is despite the increase in gold prices, which exerted an upward pressure. The outlook for inflation provides towards benign prices across major constituents. The record wheat production and higher production of key pulses in the Rabi crop season should ensure adequate supply of key food items. Going forward, the likely above normal monsoon, along with its early onset, augurs well for Kharif crop prospects. Reflecting this, inflation expectations are showing a moderating trend, and this is more so for the rural households. Most projections point towards continued moderation in prices of key commodities. This includes crude oil, which is of critical significance to us. Notwithstanding these favorable prognoses, we need to remain watchful of weather-related uncertainties and the still evolving tariff-related concerns with their attendant impact on global commodity prices. Taking all these factors into consideration and assuming a normal monsoon, CPI inflation for the financial year 25-26 is now projected at 3.7%, as I mentioned earlier. This is a downward revision from our earlier forecast of 4%. We are projecting inflation for Q1 at 2.9%, Q2 at 3.4%, Q3 at 3.9%, and Q4 at 4.4%.